Thank you very much, gentlemen. Can I just please ask you who are standing up there? There are lots of room left here in the middle, so please come down. Maybe if... yeah, there's quite some... Yeah, it's a good idea to maybe move in a few steps there, making it easier to pass by. Quite a few chairs free here down in the middle as well. Good, thank you. Great. Our next speaker has a great story to tell us here about how his company's philosophy of making all athletes better through science, passion, and the relentless pursuit of innovation, how that carries over really into the everyday operations and the strategy and the corporate vision that they have in the company. So please welcome here up on stage now the Chief Information Officer of Under Armour, Mr. Joe DeGiannis.
All right. Maybe some of you have seen this obnoxious, loud American brand. Maybe you haven't, so let's start with a video.
Save me here, Trevor. What do you want to buy?
I want to buy a stock market investment for $65.
Trevor, what stock do you want to buy?
I want to buy Under Armour.
Under Armour. You ain't. What's the big deal with Under Armour? They are a company born out of basement. It was all a dream. CEO and founder Kevin Plank, he started Under Armour right out of college with borrowed money.
Simply wanted a t-shirt that wouldn't weigh him down on the field.
My incentive was giving me just that little bit of edge advantage.
Since day one, Under Armour has stood for innovation.
Would you join me, please?
It started with a t-shirt.
Be real tight.
Something that's moved well beyond t-shirts.
Under Armour continues to embarrass other brands in the sports performance space.
You protect his house?
I will. Our goal and our vision is to be the world's #1 performance brand.
So absolutely meteoric growth.
Here's your ticket. Here the drummer get wicked.
The skeptics quite simply argue the success you're experiencing is quite simply unsustainable.
How much longer can that kind of trend continue, though?
People are questioning, well, now you're really treading on the turf of the giants.
It's us versus Under Armour
Is waging a guerrilla war.
Why take this fight?
We are building the biggest, fattest brand on the planet.
Like the gear was coming. Respect is earned.
There can be only one winner one day night, and if it's Auburn, it's another sign. Under Armour is a legitimate challenge to Nike's Goliath.
I wouldn't bet on us to lose, and I wouldn't bet on Auburn to lose either.
Auburn wins the BCS National Championship.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. The biggest skeptic, gotta make them a believer.
Under Armour, the business is smoking.
Yeah, I think we just reinvented the t-shirt.
The Under Armour man had an idea, so he came up with a better product. And it worked.
Under Armour is the success story.
That's a greeting from Coach Mike Ditka. So last night, I'm with the crew and I'm with Roddy, and I said, Roddy, I've never spoken to a European audience. What should I expect? He goes, it will be very difficult. Why, Roddy? Why? He goes, because it will be difficult for them to relate to your sissy football. So I put that video together last night with Mike Ditka calling you a bunch of sissies, right? And I laid awake and I woke up at 4 a.m. going, oh my God, sissy football. My whole presentation has football. They're going to hate it. And so I decided, I guess my job for the next 45 minutes and 54 seconds is to keep you off your smartphones, right? If I can do that, I've done an effective job. And so I went out to the internet and I checked some statistics. And it turns out that in 2011, there will be 8 trillion text messages sent. 8 trillion, you can write that down. 8 trillion text messages. 1 million from this very room over the next hour. And then it said that 90% of the world lives within a mobile network. 90% of the world, and I can testify to this because I was in Haiti a few months ago, and I rarely had electricity for a full day. But I always had mobile coverage, which was absolutely astounding. But here's the stat that blew me away. It says that there are 741 mobile phone subscriptions in Europe. 741 million mobile phone subscriptions in Europe. And if you do the math, that says that's 120% of the population. So you guys are terrifying me. You guys got 1.2 mobile phones and by the way, in America it's only 90%. So clearly, you guys are the leaders. My job is to try to keep you off your cell phones and your mobile phones for the next 45 minutes. Let me take you through a bit of the history of Under Armour. First off, here we talked about it. Our vision is to empower athletes everywhere. We started out in the U.S., and I'm going to talk a lot about our mission. Our mission is to make all athletes better. That's our mission, make all athletes better with a relentless pursuit of innovation. They asked me to come here today to talk about innovation, and I was thrilled to talk about how Under Armour does innovation. Let me take you through the brief 15-year history of Under Armour. First off, as you saw, it was founded by Kevin Plank. 15 years ago, Kevin was the captain of the Maryland Terrapin football team. We're in the middle of the East Coast of America. You see, Kevin wasn't always quite as good looking as he is today. That's Eric Abaggio, one of the players. And Kevin, he was on the football team, and if you've ever been to the Mid-Atlantic in North America, it's very hot, very obnoxious, very humid in August when football season really begins. And there's this tradition with American football called two-a-days. Now, two-a-days, you go out and you practice early in the morning, and then you come back in the afternoon, and you work out again, and you lose 5 pounds every day. And Kevin got sick and tired of wearing a hot, sweaty t-shirt underneath his shoulder pads. And it turns out that a sweat-soaked, fully saturated cotton t-shirt weighs over 4 pounds. And Kevin said he needed every advantage he could get, and he didn't understand why it had to be cotton. Why couldn't he wear a type of t-shirt that they see in cycling? Remember, this is 15 years ago. Why couldn't he get a performance fabric? And he said the one thing he knew coming out of the University of Maryland is that he would not have a career in professional football. So he decided to try something new. And he created a pattern, and he created that t-shirt that you see there today, very tight, moisture wicking, weighs 6 ounces. When it's wet, it weighs 8 ounces. Now that is a competitive advantage. And Kevin was really smart. He sold the product up and down the East Coast to football players. And not to athletic directors, but to equipment managers. And the equipment managers were in the locker room dealing with the actual players and saying, hey, try this out. And at first, there was a lot of ribbing in the locker room. Why are you wearing that tight t-shirt? You look funny. Oh, you're faster. You're lighter. You're faster. Where can I get one of those? And before we knew it, a revolution was born, and it was called Under Armour. It's been a big revolution, picking up on a theme from this morning. Our first 5 years, it took us 5 years to get up to $5 million US in revenue. Over the next 5 years, we got up to $276 million. I joined the company in late 2004, And what a rocket ride it's been. We took the company public in 2005, $281 million. Last year we crossed the $1 billion US threshold, which was a big deal for us. This year we're guiding Wall Street to approximately $4 billion. Look it up. I'm not going to reveal too much information, but the growth has been extremely dramatic. And the exciting thing is the growth is now coming outside of North America. And we'll talk about some of our growth drivers. Men's, we got plenty to do beyond football. You saw baseball, you saw hockey. Soccer is very important to us. We just signed the Tottenham Hotspur. They will be wearing Under Armour kits, cleats next season. We also have Hanover 96. We also have the real rugby football. We have Wales. Yes, we have Wales is our rugby team. Our women's business is growing dramatically. We expect our women's business to be larger than our men's business. You know why? Women buy more stuff. Give it up for the artists, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for the artists. God bless women. See, you guys in the audience, those of you that were working out this morning or maybe went for a run, admit it, you're wearing the same shorts you bought 5 years ago. Right? And then when you go to buy a new pair, what color is it going to be? Black. Women don't do that. And women need performance product. Footwear, we entered running in the last 2 years. I was out running in our brand new running shoe this morning. It's outstanding. We're coming into running in a big way. We've already been in football, basketball, cleats, and on the soccer field, and international, as I already mentioned. We just opened our very first retail store in China. We have one in Spain. We have one in Korea. We have 85 retail stores. That's what you see here on the end. We currently have 85 retail stores in the United States, and we are just getting started. We get a lot of movies. People want authentic brands. Under Armour is seen as the premier athletic brand right now. Very, very authentic. So we get a lot of media play, which is wonderful. And then most recently, we decided to attack the Maryland uniform. Now, I don't know if you remember that picture before of Kevin wearing the Maryland uniform. This is what we came out with last week. The Maryland flag is inherently obnoxious. It's two family crests that were brought together, and we decided to celebrate that in a big way. And oh my gosh, the media frenzy that created was very exciting. But hey, what about locally? What about for you all? We just signed the Team Sweden Alpine ski team, so we're very excited about that. You'll see them in Under Armour next season. And this is what we look like at a retail store. This is a typical retail store in North America called Dick's Sporting Goods. It's our largest account. Looks pretty good. This is what we look like here at Intersport at a local shop window. And this is what some of our retail stores look like. Our retail stores in North America, most of them are very, very green. LEED certified, which is very important to us. That's kind of what we look like. A little before and after. Kevin started the company in his grandmother's basement in Georgetown, which is in Washington, D.C. We now live in Baltimore, Maryland. Kevin decided he could never really be important in Washington, D.C. There's a bunch of other people there. You may have heard of them. Democrats and Republicans. I'm not going to make any more comments. So we decided we'd move up the road about 30 miles to a place called Baltimore. Now, Baltimore is blue collar. Baltimore is tough. Baltimore is gritty. That's our world headquarters right there. On the Inner Harbor, not near as gorgeous as what we have right out here. There's a lot more stuff floating in the water, but like I said, Baltimore's blue collar, and it's dirty, and it's gritty, and it's real. We take the bridge over to our new building. Oh, by the way, you better work out if you're at Under Armour. We have a gym in the location, and everybody works out. We're all athletes. We took a warehouse last year, and we converted it into something very, very special. This is our cafe. One of my favorite phrases at Under Armour is humble and hungry. We are humble, and we are really, really hungry. It is not a birthright. That growth that you saw, that dramatic growth, that is not a birthright. And we don't like to talk a lot about our competitor. We call him Goliath, and we're like David, right? And let him be cocky. That's okay. That's okay. But it's not a birthright. And they are a formidable, formidable opponent. But that's okay. That's okay. We're ready to take them on. This is a basketball court right in the middle of our offices. My office is just on the other side, which is quite obnoxious during lunch hour when everybody's playing basketball. This is our original warehouse. These are stock picking locations. This is our warehouse today in Baltimore. And then this is really cool. This is our innovation center. This is our innovation lab. It's 15,000 square feet. Nobody is allowed in this room. But I'm going to let you see a little bit of it. We have high-speed cameras where we can film athletes working at super high speed. We have cool hyperbolic chambers where we can put you in and we can get you to work out. We can take the temperature up to 120 degrees or down to 20 below and any humidity setting we want. It's a fun place. I would check it out. And this is what our team looks like. We have assemblies, pep rallies. We don't have meetings, we have huddles. And this is what an Under Armour teammate looks like. We've got a lot of passion. And some of us need to lose a little weight. So if I finish my tour at Under Armour, I usually finish at Kevin's office. And Kevin is a very gracious man. He will come out, he will greet you, he will meet you, and he will remember your name forever. And you can take a look at Kevin's whiteboard. Now, I'm going to show you a few of the things that are on Kevin's whiteboard. First off, we teach this to every new employee, UA 101, our 4 pillars of greatness. You can write it down if you want. First, build great product. You've got to build great product, and our product needs to be the best in the world. Second, you got to tell a great story. If you've ever seen our marketing, if you've ever seen our advertising, we can tell stories very, very well. Third, you got to have great service. We are going up against big, big, big competitors, and the only way we're going to win is if we get outserved. And fourth, you got to have a great, great team. You have to build a great team. You could ask any Under Armour employee and they would be able to rattle that off right away. Product, story, service, team. Product, story, service, team. Here's some of the language that we use. Hopefully it translates. Once we went to Kevin and said, Kevin, you keep overpromising and expecting us to deliver. It's supposed to be the other way around. Underpromise and overdeliver. He goes, no, I like overpromise and deliver. Find a way. Find a way. And as I said, humble and hungry. We are a new company every 6 months. The one thing that will get you fired at Under Armour is saying, that's the way we've always done it. By the way, we've learned that there's more than one thing that can get you fired at Under Armour. But I guarantee you, this one right here will get you fired. So, enough about us and where we've been. Let's talk about innovation. See, the amazing thing about this conference is I don't know hardly any of you, but I know the following. Some of you work in aerospace. Some of you make automotive parts. Some of you build ships. Some of you are in the travel industry. Some of you make apparel. Some of you are in medical. Some of you make hearing aids. It seems like we've got nothing in common. But the one thing, besides Technia, that we all have in common is that all of us have an innovation expectation. It is demanded of every single one of us that we continue to innovate. And the reason I'm here is to tell you how Under Armour innovates. Here's my belief with the research that I've done. It all starts with vision. It all starts with vision. If necessity is the mother of invention, I'm saying that vision is the platform for innovation.
You're telling me you can only give our guys 45 hours? That brings them to about there.
Gentlemen, that's not acceptable.
All the way back to Earth with time to spare. We never lost an American in space. We're sure as hell not going to lose one on my watch. Failure is not an option.
There isn't a guy in this room right now that doesn't want to get that haircut and a vest. All right? The movie is Apollo 13, and it's a true story, which makes it a great story. And you will never, ever, ever forget that scene. Failure is not an option. We goes, gentlemen, that's unacceptable. We've never lost an American in space on my watch. It's sure as hell not going to happen right now. Failure is not an option. Why is that such a great vision statement? Let's take a look at it. First off, it defined the problem. You're telling me we only got 45 hours? That's a problem. Second, created a moral imperative. No American has ever died in space. It's sure as hell not going to happen on my watch. If we don't solve this problem, people die. Third, a great vision statement must be clear and it must be portable. Failure is not an option. Very clear, very portable. You can say it anywhere, at any time. And then finally, it described the what, not the how. It didn't say how to get them back down. In fact, the problem, if you remember the movie, was the CO2 scrubbers had stopped working in the lunar module where they were. The CO2, so as they were breathing, they were poisoning the air. But the other module, the lunar module, had a CO2 scrubber that worked. But the problem was they needed to move, and literally they had to figure out how to get a round peg to fit into a square hole because there were two different systems that were never designed to be integrated. How many of you are dealing with that today? Two different systems that were never designed to be integrated. Amen. Give me an amen. All right. Southern Baptist, I can do that. Describe the what, not the how. Now, if you remember the next scene in the movie, there's a table, and they lay out all this junk on the table. And they said, figure it out. Innovate with this. And it was duct tape and wire and boxes, and they came up with a procedure, and they radioed it back up to the module, and they created a system that would tie the two together. And fortunately, happy story, they landed successfully. They came home, and there was a tear in everybody's eye. Our statement, our clear and portable statement is to make all athletes better. Period. It's clear, it's portable. Here's some of the innovations we've come up with just in the last year. There's many. And one of the things I'm going to point out with this is we did not invent a single one of these. In fact, Kevin didn't invent that tight, moisture-wicking shirt. He innovated. He brought that fabric to a new application that is football. And oh, by the way, for the very same reason it works under shoulder pads in football, it works under a hockey uniform. And oh, by the way, it works under a bulletproof vest. We have a very strong business with the military. It works. And if it keeps you warm, our cold gear keeps you warm on the field. It will also keep you warm on the ski slopes. It will also keep you warm while you're golfing. And it just continues. The core short, we didn't invent. We actually saw that, and what it does is it holds your IT band together. We saw that in the locker room at a NHL hockey game up in Canada. And we said, what's that about? And somebody else had done a lot of research on that and invented it. And because Under Armour now has a reputation for making all athletes better and always being innovative, we were able to be the platform to bring that to market. The next thing you see here is Brandon Jennings, who is 22 years old and as a rookie set the record for most points scored in basketball in the NBA. He's wearing a mouthguard called Armor Bite. There is a dentist in North America who wakes up every day thinking about teeth and jaw alignment. And if I set my jaw properly, then I won't be as tense and I won't be releasing certain hormones and I will be stronger and able to concentrate better, and it's medically proven to make them more effective. The third is what we call the recharge suit, and we took compression, and the reason compression is so great is what do you do when you work out too much and you get tired and sore? You put ice on, right? Ice keeps the blood from flowing into the vascular system and keeps the swelling down. Ice is for bee stings. Ice is not for recovery. We created the recharge suit. You sleep in that thing, and it's guaranteed, it's statistically proven that the next day the guy that has the recharge suit versus the one that doesn't can lift a lot more weight. He recovers faster. Ice is for bee stings. These are just some of the innovations we brought to the market in the last year. And again, we didn't invent any of those. Those didn't come out of our innovation lab. They were refined in our innovation lab. Under Armour Green. We didn't invent recycled clothing, but we brought it to the athlete that had never been done before. One of our Under Armour Green shirts, which is one of our highest performing shirts, is made from 4 water bottles. So 4 of those little plastic water bottles is recycled and it's spun through our process and it creates one of our t-shirts. Last year we were responsible for recycling 6 million water bottles. And the consumer is willing to pay for a recycled t-shirt as long as it performs. Oh, I'm sorry. Tom Brady, the best looking man in the world, married to the prettiest woman in the world. He also plays sissy football. Tom Brady is wearing a cotton t-shirt. For years, Under Armour said cotton is the enemy. Remember? What was our very first shirt? We couldn't stand that 4-pound soaking wet t-shirt. We created something new. Kevin invented something new. He innovated. We looked in our consumer's closet. We looked in the drawers and we discovered they had 13 t-shirts, 4 of which were performance shirts and 3 of which were Under Armour. That means the other 10 were all cotton t-shirts. They want cotton. So we innovated. We worked with Cotton Inc. and we created a cotton t-shirt with a special weave that's both hydrophilic and hydrophobic in the weave. And it dries 5 times faster. And we brought that to market this year. We were able to innovate with cotton. This is really cool. Let me show you a video. That's Cam Newton. He was the most valuable player in college football last year. And in his first 2 professional games in the NFL, he's over 400 yards per game. It's just been unbelievable. And he's an Under Armour athlete. But I'll tell you this story real quickly. Many of you probably have, if you're a runner, you probably have a fancy watch with one of those bands with a little bug on it that keeps your heart rate. Raise your hand if you've got one of those. Now keep your hand up if you actually use it. Okay, great. 2 of you. Nice. The problem is it's a pain. You put that band on, you forget about it, and you sweat and all that. And while we thought that was really cool, we thought, well, why couldn't we innovate and actually build the sensors into the shirt? And then what we did is we said, well, heart rate's important, but what if we also got breathing rate? And what if we also got your G-forces? And then what if we unveiled it on the largest stage?
This E39 shirt from Under Armour with the glowing bug in the middle that's collecting all this neat information, turning folks like Julio Jones and Cam Newton into Tony Stark.
So what this shirt allows them to do is actually understand what's going on inside their body while they're training.
What does this measure for what we're looking at?
So heart rate, breathing rate, and most importantly today, G-forces.
9.5 Gs is incredible.
F-15s pull 9 Gs.
9.8 Gs on the broad jump.
Awesome.
This is great information as a performance coach that I'm going to take back on Mondays when I see our athletes. We're going right to the trenches, and it's going to affect all athletes, not just the NFL Combine kids and the pro guys, but all the way down into the youth and high school levels as well.
Really cool. It took us about 2 years to bring to market in that innovation lab. Actually, the technology, that bug that snaps out and makes you look like Iron Man, was actually used by special forces in the U.S. military, so they can keep track of how their troops are doing in their athletic field of play in combat. Imagine a day in the not too distant future where a coach of a hockey team or a soccer team or a baseball or a basketball team, nobody works hard in baseball, and imagine he's got an iPad and he's able to see all of his players' biometrics, his breathing rate, his heart rate, his G-forces, how he's doing, and say, that guy needs to come out, it's time to change sides in hockey. That day is real. That day is now. The funny thing is the players love wearing that shirt and being measured in practice and comparing each other. But they don't like wearing it during the game because nobody wants to come out of the field of play. what that shirt is, it's a feedback loop. It's giving real-time feedback to the athlete and to the coach on how he's performing. It's making the athlete better. Last month, we came across an article in Wired magazine. Now, here's a little bit of irony. Why do we still read Wired magazine? Why isn't it called Unwired or Wireless? But we still read it, and it's still a magazine, and some of us look at it on our iPad. And there was a great article about feedback loops. And the story goes that a community in America wanted to slow traffic down outside their schools. We call them school zones, and the speed limit in a school zone is 25 miles an hour. And so the first thing they did was they decided, we need to slow this traffic down because kids are going to get killed. We want to keep our kids safe. So what we'll do is we'll get more police officers and we'll write more tickets. And that's exactly what they did. They wrote more tickets. But it did not change behavior. Because by the time you write the ticket, you've already endangered the child. You've run them over and you're getting the ticket. You haven't changed behavior. You haven't done any good. So what they did is, and you have these as well, they posted these solar-powered, real-time speed systems that tell you how fast you're going. Here's what's really cool about feedback loops. First thing, they give you evidence. Current speed is, in this case, 32 miles an hour. Second thing it does is it gives relevance. Your speed is 32 miles an hour. Not the guy next to you, not the guy behind you, not the guy. This is your speed. You are going too fast. The next thing it tells you is consequence. The consequence here is implied. You are going to kill a child or get a ticket. And it spurs action. Now the cool thing about these, and maybe you've experienced it, when you see how fast you're going, the first thing you want to do is accelerate and see if you can make it go faster, or you put your foot on the brake. You start playing with it, right? Real time. You are adjusting your speed to watch it change on the dial. Why do I bring that up in the context of the E39, which our athletes are wearing for real-time feedback? I bring it up for real-time feedback because one of the things we want to be at Under Armour, we want to be unrivaled in our execution. Not only do we want to be innovative, but we want to be unrivaled in our execution. And we need really good feedback loops to keep our internal employees, our teammates, our athletes fully productive in knowing how they're doing. So, with Technia's help, this is our dashboard. Now, in the apparel industry, you have, in our case, 2 seasons. H&M has 12. I can't wait to talk to you guys at lunch, figure out how you do that. And the real challenge in apparel is staying on calendar. Why? Because people that design apparel and footwear are artists, and artists are never done. Publish, right? Artists are never done. It's hard. I'm going to take your canvas away. He'll have apoplexy. Same thing with apparel and footwear designers, and they want to tweak it, and they want to do a little more, and they want to add a zipper, or they want to add a button, or let's change the color, or let's tweak it. So what we did is we created a dashboard that shows them, in this case, fit, buy, ready. Are you buy ready? Have you done all of your fittings on this specific line? In this case, we're saying that 92 styles, we have 92 styles in this line, but 6 of them, that is 6.5%, are not yet buy ready. So the next dashboard, I click right into that pie chart, and I can go look. This should look familiar, all you Matrix 1 fans. But this is a little better because we made it look better. Here's our 6 styles, and oh wow, look, fit by ready status. No. Well, I better go fix that one. And so we'll go do the fitting. So here's a fitting. It's the muscular guy. And then we come back and we say, yes, it's now fit by ready. And well, we can look at all the other things. Is it fit by ready? Yes. These are. Is the fabric ready? Yes. Is the trim ready? No. Go fix that. And then is the tech pack published to the factory? No. Real-time feedback. We've got the evidence in the system. We know everything there is to know. We can present how fast you're going. We can make it relevant. This is your product line, Mr. Developer. We can show them the consequences. Actually, I want to go a next step further. I want to show them now, bringing in from my other forecast system, how many units are projected for this product for this season. Because then I really know the consequence, and I'll focus on the biggest programs first. So what? Now what? Great, Jody, Under Armour's loud, and they make videos, and they play sissy football, but they're coming to a stadium near you. Does that look pretty good? You forgot the microphone. How is this important? We all have an innovation expectation, every single one of us. And I really, really firmly believe that the key to innovation is having that clear, and compelling vision. You have an opportunity now. We speak different languages. Latin is the root of most of our languages. I looked this up. The Latin root of opportunity is ob portu. Ob portu comes from the concept of a high tide. And back in the day, in order for the ship to reach its port, you had to wait for the high tide, the ob portu. And William Shakespeare picked up on this in Julius Caesar when he wrote, "There is a tide in the affairs of all men, which when taken at the flood leads to prosperity. Omitted, all voyage of their life is doomed to the shallows and despair. On such a full sea we are now afloat, and we must take the current as it serves, or lose our ventures." Or lose our ventures. So I'm going to do an experiment. I've never done this before, and it's quite risky, but I've taken approximately 37 minutes. I'm going to give a minute back to you. And I want you to take out your smartphone, and I want you to put into your schedule sometime in the next week or something where you, just 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes, put in some time to think about your vision. What is your vision? And you say, well, it's my boss's job. No, it's your job to create the vision. All of you are leaders. What is the vision for your department? And if you don't know the vision for your department, how will they? And if you do know the vision for your department, does the team you lead know the vision? Because once they know the vision, then they can innovate. But if I ask you, innovate, be innovative, you can't do it. You have to have the vision, the context, and the framework. So 60 seconds, I'm giving back to you. Pull out smartphones, text message your girlfriend, update, or boyfriend, whatever it may be, and update your calendar with how you're going to think about vision. All right. A lot of people talking about their vision for coffee break next. Understand it. Just to give you an idea, I came across this Time magazine this morning, and there was an article in here which I just thought was unbelievable about the power of having a great vision. The article is called "Epidemic on the Run: How Accelerating the Anti-Malaria Campaign Opened a Whole New Model for Global Aid." let these statistics resonate. 1 billion people per year are infected with malaria. 1 billion. Of that 1 billion, 1 million will die. Ray Chambers, a former Wall Street titan, decided that this was unacceptable. And he created a vision called, and his book is now published, it's called Lifeblood, How to Change the World One Dead Mosquito at a Time. 1 dead mosquito at a time. And then he was able to go out and get great, because he had great vision, he could get people to buy in and understand that vision. And they even got on American Idol, and they created a campaign. And by the way, American Idol, you've seen something similar to that over here, I'm sure. It's a most watched show. And they created a campaign for mosquito nets. Now, everybody can relate to a mosquito net. And last year, they delivered 382 million mosquito nets. 382 million mosquito nets, protecting 765 million people. So how does this resonate? In the country of APAC, they were averaging 5,000 new malaria cases a week as recently as June. 5,000 new malaria cases a week. 10% of those people would die. You can do the math. All of a sudden, with those mosquito nets, weekly cases fell to 3,500, 2,800, 2,400, and now less than 1,000 per week. And that's all because somebody had a big vision for what seemed to be an insurmountable problem. How do I keep 1 billion people safe? But with a clear vision, got the entire resources of a nation through a TV show to contribute to malaria nets and basically go a long way towards solving the problem. I hope you all have a great conference here. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity that we all have to learn from each other,